Hey, you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it. Where you about to be is not where you reside currently. We gon' teach you how to compound it while you're earning it. It's that new type of money, that's a different type of currency. Hey, you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it. Where you about?
Have you ever allowed someone to talk you out of something only to discover it would have benefited you greatly? Sometimes people want to shrink your dreams down to their size because they're uncomfortable with you being in a space they're too afraid to occupy. Not everyone can handle the dreams you have for your life. But if you dare to dream, listen closely. Do you want to help young people get through college? Veterans live a better life? Families lower their electric bills? Churches and nonprofits get the help they truly need and deserve? Well, if you feel this way, welcome to Kingdom Currency, a digital token created to meet all of these needs. When you purchase Kingdom Currency, you're not only making your own dreams come true, but you're supporting things you care about. So if you dare to dream, for more information, go to kingdomcurrency.exchange, kingdomcurrency.exchange.
Hey everybody, it's RJ Stevenson here with the Holy Connections family, and I'm so excited about having this opportunity to introduce you all to a platform that I know is going to bless your life. Look, take a couple of seconds right now, tell somebody that you got some information that they really need to hear, because your life is going to forever change because what is getting ready to be shared with you. We got some guests this evening that is going to unlock an opportunity for you that is just going to blow your mind. A lot of us are trying to figure out how to recession-proof our life. We're trying to figure out how to take our lives to the next level, and this opportunity is going to do that for you. This conversation right here is probably getting ready to be the most life impactful I've ever done. We're going to be talking to Bishop Charles Ellis III, Pastor John Newman, and Gerald D. Rogers. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm sitting with two pioneers and two giants, so I get to absorb all of this amazing knowledge and wisdom.
Well, after hearing that, I'm doing great.
I got another P, prosperous. Whenever I'm around prosperous people, I'm always in good shape. It's a great day.
Oh man, we hear wisdom speaking already, man. I'm excited about this conversation tonight. Listen, we're talking about this new platform that you all have introducing to the world. Can you all just go ahead and give us a short about what it is we're talking about?
Kingdom Currency. We should have dominion in every aspect of our lives. So we've been given the charge to empower, to educate, equip individuals to understand how to make money work for them. And that's our entry point into this marketplace. Token with a purpose. We want to make sure we ensure that HBCUs are permanently funded, ministries that are doing dynamic work, and as well as not-for-profits continue the work that they've already been called to do. And then also our veterans. They've served our country well, give us many perks that sometimes we take for granted. So we want to make sure they transition properly when they enter back into civilian life. Then obviously the evolution of the green energy space and being clean energy conscious. So we want to make sure those groups that are normally disenfranchised from areas like that get opportunity to participate. And that's what we're going to be able to do through the digital currency market space.
My money has always said in God we trust, but it seems like y'all taking this to a whole new level. We're talking about tokens and NFTs, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And the dope part about this is a new evolution of currency. Right now, it's a $3 trillion market. And over the next 60 months, we're talking about the growth spurt of nearly 40 trillion. So we now get the opportunity to be in front of a wave. And many times in endeavors like this, we always get caught after the wave and market is established. So we're going to lead the charge and economically empower so many people who are willing to listen and allow us to impart wisdom into their lives.
This sounds like an amazing opportunity to take Kingdom out of the sanctuary and into the marketplace. I love what I'm hearing so far. How exactly do you perceive this will cause a major impact on the landscape of what we do in terms of kingdom finances?
One of the things that have been missing in our community, obviously, this currency is for everyone. So there's no community that is not for. But in the African-American community in particular, we have always had, unfortunately, not enough access to capital, not having the ability and to take visions and dreams and make them reality because there's just not enough access to capital. That's a fundamental problem. And because we haven't had a consistent economic engine in the African American community, it's been easy to extinguish all the little fires that get started with something happening here and something happening there. And because we haven't had an engine or enough engines to fuel the visions and dreams of all of our community, we've suffered down through the years. And so what kingdom currency does is it allows, as Gerald was saying, the opportunity to move into this digital space, which is going to grow exponentially. And always in the African American community, historically, we've been left behind. But now, because of this platform and because of how digital currency is really taking over in the economic space, we won't be left behind anymore. We're at the forefront of it. And we'll be able to do the things that we really need to do to make dreams come true, whether it's the HBCUs, the veterans, the green energy, churches and nonprofits. Without having resources, you really can't do the things that need to be done. And there are people who have always wanted to do well and do good at the same time, but found that they had to make a choice. I've got to take care of home. I've got to take care of my responsibilities. And so I really cannot afford to give to the college I want to give to, or to do other things that are in our community so that we can grow businesses, to give them the kind of money needed to make dreams come true. This provides an opportunity to do just that. You can do well by something that if you purchase it, or I'll be optimistic, when you purchase it, it grows in its value. And at the same time, because of the pillars we stand on, the 4 pillars we talked about, they also get blessed. And unlike other folks who are saying, well, we'll give away 10% of the profits and, pat us on the back, 60% of the profits go to those 4 buckets because we're not in it for ourselves. It's kingdom currency.
Bishop, can you tell us how this aligns with us in the body of Christ?
I'm blessed to be pastoring a church that's 95 years old. And of course, I'm only on the back end of 26 years. My father, who pastored the middle of that 34 years, from 1962 to 96, he was able to start a federal credit union in 1981. He had a daycare center, a Christian academy, duplexes that would house families. Under my tenure, under him, we brought forth a senior citizen complex called Ellis Manor Apartments for Seniors that houses low-income seniors, HUD 202 program, which is Section 8. And my dad was always a front runner, in terms of trying to find a way, not just to build a church, but to build a community. And I think that some people say, why is the church doing that? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? It's sad when you want to keep God boxed into 3 songs in a sermon. There's so much more to life than 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. Now COVID, it might be 10 o'clock virtually, wherever it is. But at the end of the day, I think that we for so long have tried to box the church in. And we know the church has been the forerunner in civil rights, in social justice, in unionization, and the list goes on and on and on. So now it's how apropos that the church is getting into this digital space and being one of the leaders and getting ahead of the game. We have a problem sometimes that when something is beyond our comprehension, we tend to say, is that real? I remember when I was a kid, the only thing that we knew in money at the pinnacle was $1 million. We like, what's after $1 million? I don't know. And then somebody said $1 billion. Okay, $1 billion. Then somebody said, what's after that? $1 trillion? Those were imaginary numbers. Those were imaginary words. Those were imaginary phrases. What's that? Zuzap, cotillion? But now we're living in a space where there are corporations, there are sports franchises that are worth billions of dollars. When I was in high school, $1 billion didn't really exist. You know what I'm saying? If you were a millionaire, that means you had $6, $7, $11 million. Now you've got black athletes, a couple that are up into the billions of dollars, And now, you know, we're hearing trillions, and we hear that all the time now. So it's not strange anymore. So I say to those individuals that might say, you know, well, what's that digital? Is that real? Everything that is real is new. So at the end of the day, it's time for us to get on the front end or the beginning of some of this new stuff. There was a time when there was no legal tender, y'all. Yeah. You know, I mean, somebody said, well, what is a dollar bill? You know, I got a little gold here. I got a little silver here, because they were trading in that. The next thing you know, we have legal tender. We have this piece of paper now that is in the place of gold and silver. When my dad died, man, I found he had a $500 bill. I know there was a $500 bill. Wow. And then I looked again. I started looking in. You know what I'm saying? They're going through all the drawers of the files. I found a $1,000 bill. I'm like, I thought a $100 bill was it. You know, so there's some legal tender out here that we haven't even been exposed to. There's some legal tender out here that we haven't even hasn't even been brought to our attention. So I would say to people, you know, don't be afraid of this digital space and these digital currencies and these tokens. You know, everything evolves. And at some point in time, you know, you say, well, you know, I want the almighty dollar. You know, there was a time when the dollar didn't exist, you know, but then it came and I became the standard bearer. And we don't know where things are going. But one thing we know, if you live long enough, things are always changing and going through transitions and transformations. So I think here we are now in this digital financial space.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if I could just kind of jump on what something Bishop said, he kind of spoke to fears that people have of the unknown. You know, back, you know, when there were cavemen and cavewomen, I realized the same fire, if I get too close, burns me, also cooks my food. And also, when I get cold, it keeps me warm. But at first, fear. And the same thing happens when it comes to the digital space, because as Bishop said, it's all new. And because of the natural tendency for human beings to be afraid of things they don't understand, oftentimes people will begin to say, well, I don't know about this digital stuff. And then when they hear something in the news that's all blown up just because it's clickbait to get folks emotionally, you know, responsive to it. And they then think that, well, maybe there's something wrong about this. No, it's just new. And if you don't have an understanding of it, your natural reaction is going to be fear. But this thing, and Brother Gerald can talk to it a whole lot better than I can, because he is the one who actually got the vision and dreamt of this, and now it's a reality, can talk to the fact that this thing is real and it's happening with or without us. So it may as well happen with us.
And just to add to this, when I think about the dynamic of, from a pure education standpoint and from a cultural standpoint, unfortunately, we were all taught how to go work for money. There were very few conversations in our households and in our places of fellowship where we understood the dynamic of making sure money works for us. And so our whole movement is anchored in educating individuals to understand in the natural, we should be reproducing after our own kind. And then we have to have a vehicle in place to also live out our biblical creed, to leave an inheritance to our children's children. And when I think about the evolution of currency, the evolution of understanding, you know, our whole lineage is anchored in entrepreneurship, because the first CEO of the universe was Adam. He created all industry. And then, you know, this whole space of money transfer, tender, foreign exchange, you know, the global economist Solomon himself said, if you invest in foreign trade, then you'll have a profit. And then the new generation, the rebirth, they added to the covenant, you know, Jesus told, and Paul said that, you know, I became poor that you may become rich. And what happened? Jesus exchanged his life for 30 pieces of silver. So it's always been about moving of currency. So we're excited to be able to help people transition. And as Dr. Newman just said, not be afraid. It's different. And we don't have to be afraid because it's different. And so we have a foundation that's laid properly, is rooted in empowerment, and nobody's going to outserve us. And that's really what the purpose behind Kingdom Currency is and will continue to do.
But normally, when we hear about these kind of opportunities, people automatically disqualify themselves and say, I don't have enough money to do that. Obviously, you know, I definitely can't afford to do that if I already can't afford to do what I'm doing now. But it seems like you've found a way to reduce that barrier of entry to make this available and affordable for everybody. Talk to us about how we can get involved in this process.
Well, a couple of things I want to talk about: cost and value. So we never have had a money problem, no matter what the endeavor is, because we will wear our clothing, we will participate in entertainment. So we want to be able to shift that and destroy that mindset as well. But we've made it very easy and user friendly. You know, 𝐴𝐸𝐴𝐺 is our website where the average individual can participate. And because we're in the pre-purchase phase, families can come together. A minimum purchase of $400, but you get an opportunity to take advantage of this token at 6.5 cents. So those pennies that we walk by often, they multiply, they duplicate. So we're challenging every family member, you know, $10, $20 to come together as a unit and participate. And as we do well for ourselves, we get to do well as a whole. 𝐴𝐸𝐴𝐺 is the place where this endeavor can take place. And once again, I want to think about how different will our lives be in our communities, the families that have been destroyed because of lack of resources. And so this is why we're leveling the playing field and making sure that economic equity is at the forefront of everything we do.
This sounds like that conversation that changes I can't afford to do it into I can't afford not to do it. Tell me a little bit more. How does a person get involved? You gave us the web address, but you know, give me a little bit more. What's the next step?
Well, the next step is to utilize all the resources that we have in place. You know, we have tutorials, we have videos to kind of give an explanation, so no one will feel like they've been deprived of information. And we're going to be doing road shows around the country, Zoom meetings, and we're making it so simple that the youngest of the least can take advantage of this information. And so we cover the spectrum from as young as 7 till as mature as 86. So for our listening audience, we know you fall into that place, and stay tuned and stay posted.
And I would like to say, as a brand ambassador, you know, most times when people are trying to pull the wool over your eyes, they don't want to entertain questions. They don't want you to have access to information. And I think Kingdom Currency says, we want you to be involved and to be a learned and a studied involver. You got what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we want you to understand what Kingdom Currency is, how it got started, how it originated, how you can participate. And I think that we've made it so that everybody can find a way to get in where you fit in. So many things have a price that really does say to you, this is not for you. You're not included in this. We feel that this is so life-changing that we have to find a way that the least of these, or those who at least have a mentality that they don't have, what we know they do have, because we as African Americans that say we're impoverished, we're marginalized. In some facts, that is true. But in other facts, you know, listen, my sister's looking good out there with those lashes and those nails. And that hair is looking good, man. I mean, it's flowing like Rapunzel. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, the sisters has got it going on out here. I'm trying to tell you. And listen, ain't nobody did that free. That costs some money. So at the end of the day, we're spending money all the time. And I think, sadly, you know, we have spent billions of dollars in things that have done nothing to the building of us leaving a legacy for our children's and those children's children and those things that are most important in life. Education, good health, mental wellness, and all of those things. We have not spent money on those things, but we spend money on a whole lot of other things. And I think that if you look at the statistics, Black people, we spend billions of dollars in a lot of different industries. I'm not sure that that's leaving any legacy for us, or that's an investment in ourselves.
So it sounds like the concept of kingdom currency is not only just about allowing us to elevate to another level of financial stability as a community, but also you spoke about helping to stabilize our historically Black colleges and universities. You talked about generational wealth amongst our families. I don't know why somebody wouldn't go to that website right now to find out as much information they possibly could about how they could become involved in kingdom currency. Pastor Newman, as a community pastor, how do you think that people getting involved in the kingdom currency movement is going to change the way our families and our young boys and our young girls see wealth in our communities?
Well, I think, and Bishop alluded to it, and so did Brother Gerald. I think when people become educated as to how money actually works, and one of the beautiful things about kingdom currency is actually a baby birthed from the Be Your Own Bank movement. So the reality is, education was the original platform to teach people this is how money really works, and to understand that is not maybe so much access to having income, but what are you doing with it? And to educate them, and to begin by having information, then that quells the fears and hesitation, because people perish for lack of what? Knowledge. BYOB, which birthed kingdom currency, was all and is all about knowledge. And when you actually, let me give you another example. If you attend a pool party, a friend throws you, right? And you notice that there's a deep end of the pool. No one's in the pool. Everybody's standing around the pool. But folk are also in the shallower area. If they fall in, they're okay because they can't swim. But the folk over there where it's 10, 12 feet deep, they're laughing, having a good time and enjoying one another. And no one's worried about falling in. Why? Because they are competent swimmers. It's not that they have more strength. It's not that they're more brave. They're just more competent. They know how to swim. Oftentimes, when people don't know how to understand something or don't understand something, they become hesitant. They become fearful. Or if they feel embarrassed for not knowing, then the psychological trick of, well, that which I'm uncomfortable with is unnecessary anyway, because they're uncomfortable with it. Once people get information, which is the bedrock of BYOB's baby, kingdom currency, they'll understand more about how to make money work. The beautiful thing about this, because it is an economic justice piece as well, whenever the community in the past has done well, what happens? The community gets bombed. Tulsa. People get shot and killed and burned out of their homes. Rosewood. How many other places has history missed where families that were doing well all of a sudden lost income? 10 trillion is what the value would be if Black Wall Street existed today. Well, the beautiful thing about digital currency is fire can't burn it, water can't drown it, wind can't blow it away. All you need is education to understand. Instead of spending it maybe all on the lashes and all on the hair or all on the suits or all on the shoes, brother.
So let them spend a little something on it, Doc.
Spend a little bit.
Put it all in the digital space.
Spend a little bit. But also take a healthy portion for your future.
There you go.
And for your children and their children, and leave them something beyond just a name. A good name is wonderful, but you need to also leave them, be able to leave them something tangible, something physical, that to transfer the wealth from generation to generation to generation, because you will notice that the most wealthy people in this country, it basically comes down to one thing: real estate. They got their hands on thousands of acres. and they've turned it into billions of dollars. You'd be surprised, maybe not because of this community here, how many people in real estate go back generations and generations and generations. And I don't want to go back too deeply, because if we get too deep, you may have to edit it out. You'll discover that it wasn't theirs to begin with. It was stolen and taken. But you can't do that with this, because once you get to the website, you see what's going on with Kingdom Currency, and you say, 6.5 cents per token? Yeah. But wait, just let it incubate, let it grow, sit on it for a minute. And that 6.5 cents may wind up being something a whole lot more if you just wait on it a while. And that's how you build that legacy, build that wealth, and be able to fund all the things we really want to fund. It's really about making the community better. That's why we exist.
And I want to dovetail real quick on what Dr. Newman said, because culturally, we get an opportunity to destroy that notion that after you turn 18, you go out there and make it for yourself, right? So we actually have a way to launch the next generation forward, because has been completely eroded out of our community. We all start from scratch, and you can never advance a community or a culture if there's not a bedrock to push them into. And that's really, when you look at the difference now where we are, because as Bishop Ellis said earlier, we're a world resource. As a matter of fact, 2021, there's $1.3 trillion that circulated through the African American community particularly. So we're the 9th largest nation in the entire world when it comes to things that we have access to. But we have to change that narrative now to preserve the wealth as well. So we have access to it, but now we have to make that shift in mind now.
A lot of times these opportunities come along, and because they're unfamiliar to us, we're very slow to move on them. And what happens is, a lot of times it takes our community years and sometimes decades to catch up, because we're so fearful of things that are new. Bishop Ellis, bring this home for me. Tell me why somebody should get involved with this right now.
Because reading is powerful. Information makes you knowledgeable. And at the end of the day, just because you don't know something doesn't mean that it's not happening. Stuff is happening all the time, and we say, what? I ain't never heard of that. But it's been going on all the time. This train has just left the station. But right now, it's moving real slow so we can pick up folk. But once it gets steaming and gets going down that track, you can still get on, but you got to almost like double dutch. Double dutch is already going. You got to jump in that thing, and sometimes you get tripped up. Sometimes you get hit with the rope over your head. So we trying to move a little slow right now so that people can go on the website, so they can talk to the brand ambassadors, and we can refer them to individuals who can give them more information. Because as I said, there's nothing to hide here. We want you to ask the questions. We feel that the more questions you ask, the more apropos you're going to get involved, because we believe that it doesn't make sense because we're a part of it. It makes sense because it is the right thing for this time and for this season. And we're trying to bring it to our community.
I've got to say this real quick, if you don't mind, if I could, because Bishop actually said it. Go to our site, and you're going to see something you won't see anywhere else. You can look up any digital currency you want to. You're not going to know who's involved with it. Oh, you'll see a name. You might see a face if you decide to Google it. But when you go to our site, you see everything. You'll see folk with Wall Street experience, folk who were chief financial officers of billion-dollar corporations, people who were in the investment area professionally. And all of that is right there on the site. You'll see pastors, you'll see entertainers, you'll see In fact, one of our brand ambassadors just won a boxing match.
Athletes.
The other day, you'll see athletes. And must say, when he came out, he was wearing kingdom currency regalia. You know, but there's always, as Bishop Ellis and Gerald also said, there's always this hesitancy. And we have a tendency, because of something called cultural lag, we have a tendency not to trust one another. We have a tendency to think, well, if other folks validate it, then it must be okay. No, we can validate ourselves. Go and look and see all the people, their faces, their names, bios, and you'll see that we have nothing to hide, because, as Bishop said, it's real. And I would hate for anybody to go out 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, then hear about the success and say, oh, how can I get in? It's double the time, then now.
Yeah.
Why didn't I know? Well, you probably heard about it and dismissed it because it was new. And unfortunately, sometimes we dismiss things because of the folk who are bringing it looking like we do. I'm just being straight up and honest. Distrust is also one of the unfortunate holdovers from slavery. We're trying to break all of that down so that we heal our community holistically.
So the question is, what are you waiting for? They've already given us all the information we need to do to go and find out how we can elevate our life to the next level. Can you all give them one more time how they can get connected to this amazing opportunity?
KingdomCurrency.exchange. KingdomCurrency.exchange. Kings, queens, that's what you are. So be a part of this movement. And let's change our communities, leave a true legacy, and be represented by some amazing voices like you've already heard through Pastor Dr. John L. Newman and Bishop Charles Ellis III. Legacy creators, pioneers of resources. So join us.
Listen, go to KingdomCurrency.exchange right now and find out what you're going to miss on if you don't jump on the board right now. Remember, you want to get on the train now, so you ain't got to play double dutch. And this is RJ Stevenson from Holy Connection. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to show you this amazing opportunity for you. And we hope to hear from you again soon.
Be good, my friend.
Bless you.
Stay safe.
Take care.
Where you about to be is not where you reside currently. We gon' teach you how to compound it while you're earning it. It's that new type of money. Now that's a different type of currency. How you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it.
BYOB Worldwide, it's a movement.